Welcome back. Welcome to the show. We have a good show today. We have a very healthy show today. We have a
But
very
good,
high
but still,
protein show today,
but still good, right?
but still good. Yeah.
All right.
So
Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
we're going to talk about offal.
Ooh.
Awful.
Oh.
Is it offal or is it awful?
Yeah. I'm getting my pants.
I don't think it's awful. I think it's offal. In America, we call it variety meats, or we call it organ meats, or in poultry, we call it giblets. But what it is it's basically everything edible from the animal that's not musculature, that's not skeletal or musculature. It's organs. I mean, originally it just meant sort
So,
of the.
James, I'm sorry to cut you off, but let's introduce what we're going to do today.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're going to make
talk about offal, and Olive's going to do a demo with
chicken liver pate, like a really good chicken liver pate. Okay, good.
Nice, nice. So what does offal mean? Offal, the word itself comes from a Germanic word that essentially means waste, or it's
Always not.
it's off fall. It's fall off.
Oh, wow.
It's all the bits that fall off when the carcass is being butchered.
Okay.
And we in America, when I grew up, I mean, a lot of people were very squeamish about eating offal, and in Europe,
I'm going to start cutting stuff. It's not important,
okay,
but you can go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes.
all right. That is not offal that you're cutting.
It's an awful onion.
But in some places, this stuff is taboo. Other places, it's delicacy. Some places, it's just everyday food. And here in America, traditionally, especially out in the West, I mean, meat was so abundant, cattle were so prolific that people didn't really have to eat offal. They would literally throw the stuff away, or they would throw it to the farm animals, and they would just eat the muscular parts. But in most countries,
wait. Usually in the old days, when they first started to eat, they would start to eat either the bone marrow, the fat, then the protein. Protein came later. So basically, the fat was the most important at the beginning. Later, we started to eat meat and disregard some of the effect of that. But the idea, chefs, is basically to eat the whole animal. So when we talk about, people eat meat, some people don't eat meat. If you eat meat, you need to respect the animal. That means if you kill an animal, you need to eat the whole thing, right? It's not wasted, just a little steak and dump the rest. And the idea is a lot of nutrients are in the offals. Incredible amount of nutrients, much more than protein. This is why people used to eat that, because they get the nutrients. Anyway.
Right. So what is offal? Offal is, like I said, it's everything that's not meat. It's organs, it's intestines. Now the term includes feet, head, heart, lungs. In Asian culture, they eat a lot of pig's ears. It can be trotters, it can be tripe, intestines, all that stuff. And it has varying flavor. I mean, the different organ meats, for example, taste differently.
And that's the thing. Sometimes people are worried about too much flavor.
Yeah, right. We don't want to have too much flavor.
I mean, too much flavor of the liver, right?
We want to limit our flavor enhancement. Now, some of these things are very famous, like foie gras, like pate that Olive's doing today, sweetbreads. Even things like chopped liver in the Jewish tradition. Chopped chicken liver is a great dish. Haggis in Scotland, with essentially various organ meats stuffed into a sheep's stomach and then boiled, and along with oatmeal as a kind of a filler, and then it was boiled. I think haggis is still illegal.
Oh, yes.
What?
Haggis is awesome. Someone asked us to do a class on haggis here. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, when they make it today, they don't use as much organ meat. They use more like ground meat and ground lamb. But the traditional one is almost entirely made of organ meats. And it's, it's an acquired taste, I think, but I like it. It's a hearty dish.
Right.
It was, Scotland's a cold, hearty place, and the haggis was something that really filled you up and made you feel good. It's still the traditional dish to eat on Robert Burns' birthday. People have big celebrations on January 25th, and they make haggis and drink lots of whiskey. This is a holiday that I'm all in favor of. Any holiday that includes...
So James, I'm going to show them how to make liver today, but in the next few weeks also we're going to show them how to make some cool turkey stuff, right?
Yeah, next week, the next two shows, we're going to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving, because a lot of people are having a dilemma right now because with the pandemic, they're not having 16 people over for dinner. Yeah. So is it worth cooking a whole turkey? Is it worth doing the whole thing? So we have some ideas about how to scale back Thanksgiving a little bit. And Olivier is going to do some demos in that regard. And I think it's going to be fun. I think to have a scaled down, smaller version of Thanksgiving for a change will be fun. And there's all kinds of stuff to do. I've always been an advocate of doing odd things for Thanksgiving besides turkey, but then I think turkey's boring. So. Oh no.
All right, so I'm going to do my liver in a minute. I need to make my big pan. But basically the liver is all this stuff. And the liver, the first thing you have to do is something I've learned from Maggie. And I'm still not sure why we do that, James. I know there's a reason for that. But we have to dump the liver in milk for about 2 hours. And it looks like it's removing the toxins. Other people say it's removed some of the flavors. Whatever it is, I can't find the scientific explanation anyways, but I've done it for an hour. I got some organic chicken liver from Mary's Organic Chicken. This has been soaked for 2 hours. This is my just chopped roughly onions, carrots, fennel. I'll put the recipe actually, I'll have to send the recipe or put it into the link later. Some fennel, half a fennel. I'll give you the recipe, guys. Okay. Capers, sage. That is the most important.
Is that just for you to drink while you're cooking, or?
Yeah. So I got it brand new.
Yeah.
This morning, so that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Good job.
And anchovies, beautiful anchovies. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cook those. And Jeff, you can keep talking. I won't be listening.
Oh, I will.
No, I'm just keep talking. I'm just going to start, and then what I need to do for now first is cook those carrots, onion, and fennel gently in some olive oil because I like olive oil. It could be anything. We're going to use a lot of butter in that recipe, just so you know. But we're going to start the liver, a little bit of oil. You don't have to wait or to do anything. It's just a little bit of oil right away. Put your stuff in. Don't even wait for the pan to get hot. It's going to be fine. Just leave it like this. Just don't worry about it. Okay? Put that in. If you stay on medium, low. Let's go on medium. And once I hear sizzling, I'll move. Right now it's doing its thing. I like to have stuff cooking all its own. And then I'm going to prepare the rest of the stuff. And that's pretty much it. Okay.
So that's a version of a mirepoix.
Yeah,
and, you could also use celery, but fennel's more flavorful, and it gives a nice flavor to the pate, I think.
So liver is phenomenal nutrients. It's something I really recommend, unless you don't eat meat, of course. But if you do eat meat, you should absolutely have your kids eat liver once a week. This is obligatory, and that's a good way to eat the pate. There's many ways because the way I serve this is with pickled onions. So it's really good. It doesn't taste too much like liver. Also, I'm using chicken liver, which is much lighter in flavor. Normally, I would use beef liver, which is much more nutritive, but it's very strong. I like the flavor, but it could be a little strong. So one thing a cool trick that I've noticed on liver, if you just want to do sautéed liver simply, put a bunch of lemon and vinegar when it comes out. The flavors are perfect.
Oh, really?
And you know what?
My mother used to cook liver when we were kids, and I never liked it. I thought it was horrible, but that was probably the way she cooked it.
Yeah, it's very hard to cook, and then if you overcook it, it's going to be very strong. So the next thing is, this is going well. Now it's time to sizzle. So I'm just going to, okay, that's it. Leave it alone.
I think my mother used to overcook it too, because I remember it being a little tough and a little dry.
So
actually, it was very dry.
Yeah, so, and then you put lemon, you put balsamic. I like to put tomato paste, give it a little acidity, little white wine. Marsala works really well, mushrooms. You know what I mean? You can always like bring it up and make it really fun. So there's many ways.
And onions, do you cook onions with your liver? That's a classic combination, right? Liver and onion? Like you're doing here, yeah.
Because onion is so amazing food. So I'm going to cook all this. I'm going to get another pan to get my liver going. I'm just going to gain time. You guys, you don't have to use 2 pans. You can do everything in 1 pan. I'm going to use 2 pans because I want to get those 2 things going so you can see more action basically. But this is 1 pan would be great. So this is my onion carrot. I want to simmer them a little bit. Okay. Then again another pan.
Yeah, and you don't worry too much about getting that mirepoix diced into little tiny pieces, do you?
So I'm going to move this guy over there.
Did you hear that last thing?
I'm sorry, what? No.
I said you don't worry too much about cutting that into little tiny pieces. You kind of rough cut it because it's going to cook down. It's going to get very gentle.
And also, remember, I'm going to blend that. That's going to be mixer. Yeah. Everything's going to go in the mixer.
Yeah.
That's the pate. So, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to move that guy on the other stove over there. Then just cook on his own, just like this. And then I'm going to start the liver. Liver, very important. I never cook on high heat except for that. I want to be very careful with what we do here because you don't want to burn any of that. So this is the tricky part. Liver has to go on high, medium high, and you can't touch it when it goes in the pan. So, let me show you how we do that. And then it's going to be a different process to start the pan. I'm going to start the pan, and I'm going to wait. No, nothing goes in there until that pan is really hot. Once the pan is hot, I'm going to put oil and liver right away. And that's a pound of liver. So I'm going to put about half of it to get a nice sear. Let it really sear. Go on the other side. Remove, sear the rest. Put everything back. Put everything back with the carrot and everything. Simmer that. Done. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
It's not quick. It's really easy.
How long did you soak that in milk?
2 hours. And I know because I looked at my watch.
You didn't just go by the sun?
Well, there's only one time. There's 2 hours, so it says 2 hours.
Ah, okay. All right.
You wait.
There's a chef in London whose name is Fergus Henderson. Have you ever heard of him? He has a restaurant called St. John's in the St. John neighborhood in London. Okay. And he does what he calls nose to tail cooking.
Yeah.
He specializes in offal at his restaurant.
Fantastic.
He's an interesting guy too because he's completely self-taught. He's never worked under another chef, and he's never gone to cooking school. He just learned it all himself until he and his wife opened a restaurant once. But he's really into the whole. And in fact, he has a quote in his book that's very similar to what you said. Go ahead.
1 second. Okay, you guys. Pan is hot. Ready? Oil and about half of that liver. Now, we're going to spread out and let it sit. Just let it sit. Just make sure the oil goes everywhere. And I'm on high, medium high, and you do not touch this guy. Leave it alone. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands because I touched the.
Okay. Anyway, Fergus says in his book, he wrote a book called The Whole, I think it's called The Whole Pig or The Whole Animal,
Yeah.
and it's nose to tail cooking. And he says if you're going to kill the animal, it seems
Yeah.
only polite to use the whole thing.
That's exactly my point. This is very important, right?
And it's what you said. It's honoring the animal. I mean,
Absolutely.
to throw away half the animal that's been sacrificed for your nutrition just seems like a real sacrilege to me.
Bullshit. So I'm gonna salt now because I didn't salt. Okay. I'm gonna salt. Now this is all boiling because of the milk. That's fine. The milk is gonna go away. Okay. Salting all my stuff. And do not touch it. You see, it's all doing weird stuff because of the milk. That's okay. Leave it alone. Okay? It's not brown. It's all, you have to leave it until it starts to brown. It's going to start to make noise. Right now it doesn't make any noise. Just leave it alone. I'm still on medium high. Yep. All right.
What kind of noise does it make? Does it yell at you?
You know, like the sizzling noise, right? Shh. So right now it's very weak. There's not a lot of temperature, so I'm going to leave it alone. Going well. Yeah.
Very nice.
The vegetables, all I want is to soften them, right? To cook them through, so that we can blend them. So the vegetables over there, they just need to be cooked, cooked. I mean, soft. It's about 5-10 minutes, okay?
There's another archaic English word for offal, and it particularly was applied to deer, and it was called umble, which is umble. And so they made pies out of it because the English are big on pies. So they would make what was called humble pie, and that's where the expression came for eating humble pie when you're like apologizing or.
Right. So, how about what's the other thing for liver or for those kind of things? None of it.
Yeah, offal, variety meats, organ meats.
Yeah, organ meats. And in Mexico, the menudo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Menudo is made from tripe, which is a lining of the stomach in some animals, particularly cattle.
See, now it's sizzling. Why? Because the water is gone. So look at what's happening. I can hear the sizzling, and you see my milk, all weird stuff is gone. Now it's noisy, so now I'm getting a crust. Let's see if it wants to unstick itself. Yeah, but not quite, okay? The rest is stuck. I can't touch it. Fine, leave it alone. If it doesn't want to move, it doesn't want to move. This is only one side. I've only cooked one side. I didn't flip it yet. I need a little crust. You don't have to do the crust, by the way. That pate, you can dump everything, cook everything together, and blend it. I'm just going to add a little more flavor by grinding the liver. But again, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Because I want to flambe it. So I want to flambe the liver so it gets more flavor. Then I'm going to add my...
Very nice.
Fire. You're going to see fire before. And look, it's looking really good, right? Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's starting to brown. That's really good. Maybe a little. Not quite. Not quite. Okay?
And why don't you want to cook it on both sides?
I will.
Oh, you will.
I just wait to have a crust on each side, and I get that roasted flavor. So again, you don't have to do that. If you don't want that roasted flavor, it's a milder. Altogether, you don't have to brown it. You just dump everything, cook everything, and blend in the blender. I'm just putting more flavor. That's it. Okay? Now it smells really good, and look at the bottom. Beautiful stuff, right? Now, I can... Yeah, look at this brown stuff. You see that? And now I'm going to cook it on the other side only 1 minute. Only 1 minute. Why? Because now I have my browning. I have my stuff here. That's my flavoring, right? Okay, so I'm going to remove that. I'm going to finish cooking it later. stop. We're gonna do the same exact thing again. Okay, go in there, fat, and we do the same thing over again. Boom. Remember that? Leave it alone, and leave it alone. And we're back to the same issue. We have to wait now. Okay?
Well, I can't touch it from here, so you have no problem.
And you see, it is not cooked. Okay? It is not cooked yet. We're still.
Right.
Now we have to braise everything together. Okay? Then I'm gonna flambe that in about 5 minutes. When this is done, we're gonna flambe it, make a big flame. And then I'm gonna add everything, cook it down with the sage and all the goodies, and then add a lot of butter before I blend it, and then boom. Okay?
Very nice. Very nice. So the other thing about offal is it's not expensive. It's a lot cheaper than meat, which makes me wonder why people don't eat more of it.
I think they are very worried about the flavor and what it represents. But when you think that it's another way to respect the animal, that's very, very true and important.
I just think in our country, because there wasn't a big tradition of it, I think people are just squeamish too. I think they think all that stuff is gross when it's not really. I mean, what's the difference?
Let me get some sage going. For the sage, this is what I'm going to do. Very easy, okay? Take those leaves, boom, make them flat, and that's it. Okay, good. Awesome. How much do I need? 2 tablespoons. What's that? More. Now, let me show you something. My vegetables are done. Right here. Okay, they're ready to go. So I'm going to stop the cooking. I'm going to put all my rest of the ingredients, the capers, the anchovies, whatever, okay? And then I'm going to flambe the liver. My anchovy. Yeah. I'm going to put my capers with that. And the salt in there, which I didn't do yet. Alright. Get some capers and good. Let's go back to our liver to make sure the liver is not burning. Let's see what's going on here. Everything good, everything good. Let's see if I need to move that guy around. Ooh, nice. Alright.
Did you lose your mixer there?
No, my mixer is, I'll get it later. You guys
I meant your spoon, actually. Yeah, there you go.
So, in order to flambe, I need to have that water gone. All this water needs to be gone. So when the water is gone, we can flambe. So when, in about a minute, 1 minute, probably 2 minutes, I'm going to dump the rest of the liver that was cooked before, and we're going to flambe that. And for that, I got some moon.
Very nice.
Yes.
Well, they don't call it kitchen on fire for nothing, do they?
Well, it is not anymore. After the first fire, that was it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Looks good. I have the really good stuff in the bottom. That's going to taste really good. That liver needs to go more. It's not brown enough. Okay? So 1 more minute, guys. 1 more minute. I need that water to go away. Oh my God. Cool. My capers can go in that one right here because I'm done here. So, maybe a little more capers is fine. How much capers? 2 tablespoons? Good. Great. That's it. Look at this. Beautiful, huh?
Very nice. Now,
Let me put some white wine though. I don't need. Let's make sure that doesn't go burn though, huh? Because this is. You see, my wine is almost gone. So I'm about ready to flambe it. Okay, so. Okay, when the water's gone here, oops. Oh no, I'm not gonna know what's going on here. All right, we're back.
I think that was a sign. I think that sign was a sign.
I remember one day, a long time ago, years ago, when I first came to this country, I was traveling through Arizona or some Texas. I had to go get a truck and I was driving back, and there was a great sign in the middle of nowhere, and it says, are you looking for a sign? Here it is. Oh my God, that was great. Okay, so this is it. You see, it's dry and it's loud. Now, shh. Okay.
What? I can't hear you. The liver's too loud. What'd you say?
I know, right? So I'm bringing the rest. That water needs to go. The juice that came from the liver needs to go. So I'm in another minute because I can't have water and flambe it. That won't work.
No.
So I have to wait now again. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put that on the side. You see my liver on the side, so I can see actually the liquid. So that steam, all the steam, that's the liquid. I want the steam to go away. I'm going to take another minute, and I'm going to flambe that. Hopefully it's going to work really well, and then dump both pans together, cook it for a few minutes, let it cool, blend, 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 blend. Add a big piece of butter, put it in ramekin, fridge, freezer, and that will last for a long, long, long time. And you can offer it to friends. Liver is super cheap. Even the organic liver is $5 a pound, maybe $6 a pound.
Wow.
And I think I am ready to go. All right, so this is it. Okay, so let's get that booze. Okay, people. To flambe, I need to superheat my pan and superheat the booze. Touch the fire. There you go. So let it go. Just let it go like this. Right? What's happening is nice. Okay. Off. A little more booze, right?
Oh, I thought you were going to take a swig.
I'll test the sauce. Then, boom. See what I'm doing? And it smells really good, by the way, people. Really, really good.
I'll bet it does.
And you see that all that liquid, I need to cook it down until the liquid is kind of gone. Not gone, but, imagine this is a pate. So if it's too liquidy, it's going to, So when you look at it, a little bit wet, right? It smells really good. I'm going to cook it so first of all, now it's time to finish the liver. So the liver is almost done. So I need maybe 5 minutes. Gentle heat. Okay? Go on gentle, medium heat. Just let it go. Let's just do its thing now. You really don't want to cook it on high any longer. What you're doing is mingling the flavors. Like everything is mixing together. And that's my pate, right? The rest of my onions.
Like a good cocktail party.
Which one?
They're mingling. And blending. Yeah. So also for people that are concerned about the alcohol, like if you're giving this to your kids, most of the alcohol is going to burn away. Certainly when you flambe it. And even now, cooking in that pan, the alcohol it's kind of a distillation process. It's redistilling, and all that
Right.
all that is going up in steam out of the pan, and what you're left with is just flavor.
I would not be worried. I would not be worried. Pate is probably all the time alcohol, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's always alcohol in there, and also the body produces its own alcohol. So you produce about 5% of alcohol a day. So you can never be. It's like unless you're religious and there's something about the alcohol that you can't have.
Yeah.
Other than that, you are producing alcohol regardless of. So it doesn't matter. Oh, Carol Davison, yes.
My favorite.
So Carol is one of our team members. She moved to France because the police was looking for her. Oh no, that's not her. That's Carol is she's a herbalist, medical herbalist. She works with Kitchen Fair for more than 10 years. We've done classes here. She moved to France, and now we're going to do classes again. We're going to do we're going to do a bunch of work together with Lisa and Carol. The team that we have is about nutrition, feeding people that have disease, and so we're putting together this whole course that we should have within a couple of months about cancer food, working with the inflammation, allergies and stuff. So it's a good group. We're doing a good job here. Thank you.
So
Carol.
we should have Carol on the show.
Yes, that'd be great. But she doesn't speak English so well. She's from Ireland. She's my friend for 20 years now.
Well, it all depends if she feels like staying up late, because it'd be about midnight where she is. Or no, 3 o'clock would be, it'd be midnight in France.
Well, she spends her life in nightclubs, so I think that's fine.
Yeah. She could just take her laptop to the club with her, and she could just. That would be kind of fun.
All right, let's check that pate quickly. And maybe I need a new gas.
Uh-oh.
And guys, by the way, the reason why I cook on those is not because I don't have my stoves. I have two beautiful wolves over there. I want to show you that I can cook on a mini stove and make incredible food because it's not the tool, right?
Right.
All right, so let me get my mixer. To finish the pate. Oh man, that was good. What time is it? Cool, huh? Half an hour to make it, guys. Come on, half an hour, you can do that. And that's a lot of, by the way, that's a lot of pate.
And by the way, you could use other spirits besides bourbon. You could use brandy.
No, usually it's cognac, but whatever.
Right. Right. But you could use cognac, Armagnac. You could use wine too, couldn't you?
I'm going to put a little white wine, which I forgot to put. And the white wine will give you that acidity that you need now. You need a little
right.
acidity. And we're going to need to, and that's it. And maybe that. All right.
If you were using wine instead of a spirit, would you use more of it, do you think?
No, the thing is, cognac and booze is very important in the
yeah, I think.
Just like, it's, yes, you can, but whatever,
Some classic pates, they use port.
Yeah, pork, you can mix, you usually mix your mix. It's port and veal. It's a bunch of, whatever. You can mix your meat, of course.
All right, you're fully loaded now?
Not yet.
He won't be fully loaded till he drinks more of that brandy or that whiskey.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Actually, I like this. It's fine. Someone was asking me earlier. He's like, there was an event at 2 p.m. and he's like, "Are you drinking already? Isn't it too early to drink?" I'm like, "What do you mean it's too early? It's November."
Yeah, what was he thinking?
They're not thinking. All right, people. That's looking really good. And again, we're going to go back to removing some of that liquid right here. And the way you do it, you just push your food around just like this. And that goes for everything you cook, by the way. And you see that water, boom, when it's gone, you're done. Pretty cool, huh?
And it probably goes away faster if you move the food away from it, right? If you leave it a little pool in the middle, it's going to evaporate much quicker.
And you can control exactly when it's happening, but do not worry, because when a dish is loud, that means it's about to burn or brown. That's really what it means. The water's gone, and that's the last of the water, because very loud, shh, that's the burning. No noise, too much water. So this, no noise. I can't hear anything. Why? Because it's all this water.
Right. That's why when I cook a steak on a hot cast iron pan, it's really loud when you put it in, because there's not a lot of liquid and it's just the meat.
Right. It's that, or there's another also. Sometimes it happens, the meat is not dead, and that's really loud.
Well, you need a much bigger pan.
Right.
You need a much bigger pan to cook the whole cow.
Anyway, that's going to be really good. Let it cool before you blend, so it's better. Now you have to remember something. When you try that pate, it needs to be stronger in flavor, because once it's cold, it's going to be very weak in flavor. So when it's warm, we're going to blend it, we're going to try it. You need to not over salt it, but you want more flavor when it's warm. It's going to be too much, and when it's cold, it's perfect. And remember, we're going to eat that with pickled onions. So the pickles are going to give you that acidity also. So you have to, you have to pre-think how you want to, finish your liver.
I've been finishing my liver off for years. It's almost done.
So it's very thick. So now that thickness also tells you it's a lot of flavor. So I don't want to reduce too much. So look what I'm doing. I'm just waiting for those bubbles to be big. You see those middle bubbles? They're going to be big in a minute. They're bigger, bigger, bigger. That's the end. The liquid is very thick, so it's very flavorful. I don't have a lot of it, you see. There's not a lot. So I'm good. Off. And now what I need to do immediately is this. On the tray it goes. All right, that's my packet. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
That is it. Now do not put your butter in there when it's hot. The butter has to stay cold and together. So I can't put my butter and melt it. The reason is, why do we put butter everywhere? Anybody knows that, by the way? Butter is fantastic food, yes. I know.
Yes.
But the reason is this. And I'm going to give you the reason for sardines. When you eat sardines in a can, the one in oil with the bone and everything, sardines are a lot of cool stuff. Sardines, herring, and anchovies, all these little guys, they're very shiny. They swim at the surface of the water, really, really close to the water. So they get a lot of UVs. They get a huge amount of vitamin D. Now, when you eat those sardines with the bones, you eat your vitamin D. And guess what you eat with this? The calcium that goes in the bones, right?
Right.
Vitamin D is, let's say, one of the main role of vitamin D is calcium regulation. So think of the calcium regulator, the vitamin D, that's what it does. It needs something else, vitamin K2, to take the calcium from the arteries or from the blood and go into the cell. This is the cascade that needs to happen. You have your vitamin D, controls your calcium. Your calcium goes in your blood. The calcium cannot stay in the blood. It needs to go where it needs to go, which is in the bones, in the cells, wherever it is. And vitamin K2 does that. And guess where the vitamin K2 is? All fermented product, including butter. So sardines, you eat them with butter. Liver, you put butter in there. You have more K2, more of the whole system is gonna. You see, it's really cool. And this is very traditional. So That's what food is. It smells good. It's fun. You can eat everything, and you eat everything. Eat a little bit of everything. When I stop seeing the steam, so now it's steaming, right? Once the steam starts, takes, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. To cool it faster, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put a cooling rack under, so I got air circulation, and this is going to cook really fast. And what's going to happen is that and the pickled onion, I know you know how to do it because I already showed you, but I'll put the recipe with that. And you see, if we do that, I have air circulation now. All right, let me put the recipe. Guys, I don't know how you want that recipe. How can I put it up? Can I put it up and people copy it? Or?
Well, eventually it'll all be on the website.
Okay, so what I do is I will do it on my YouTube, where we archive all these shows, and on the Facebook I'll put a comment and put the recipe link. Okay, because it's a good recipe that I've done for many years, and I need to find it. Okay, why don't I do that rather than wasting time, you guys? Unless you want it right away. If you want it right away. Lucy, she's a social person, very nice person that we just started. We got working with her. She's very nice. She does really make a good post. Thank you, Lucy.
Lucy, I can't believe that dog could type that message.
Well, Lucy has a black eye already.
It's a very smart little animal.
So I will post the recipe liver into the Facebook page. We'll put a link with the recipe. And I'll put it onto the YouTube Kitchen on Fire, where all the shows are archived, so you don't miss it. Okay?
Well, it's just one more reason not to be afraid of your food. Like you say, combining butter with the anchovies, putting butter in with the liver, it's all necessary and it's all good for you. And too many people don't eat pate because they think it's so fatty. They think it's going to make them fat.
No. It's going to make them healthier.
What's making them fat is sitting on the sofa watching TV, but I won't go into that.
I get my blender. Put my butter. So the butter I'm using is a French style butter, which is more fat. It's 86% fat.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put my wine. So I didn't put my wine. I forgot. Oh no, I did wine. But you can also add a lemon.
Right.
Little also marsala, just a few. You can play with it now. That's it. We're done. Okay. So I'm gonna put my butter, which is quarter cup. Quarter cup is about 4 tablespoons. Roughly. Okay. So yeah, roughly. Because I did more liver than this. How much liver? I don't know. So it's cool now. Cold. Okay. So now I can put my butter because the liver is cool, and I'm going to put that in the blender, and that's going to be it. And I think I'm going to put a little more butter.
Yeah, I would.
You know, it's just.
As the English would say, a big old knob of butter.
Knob.
A knob of butter, yeah.
Okay, so that's the pate. Let's get our blender. And sorry, Jeff, I have to go in the back with my blender.
Oh, fine. Just leave me out here.
You can do that.
And you can see how quick this is to make. I mean, people think this stuff is so complicated, but it's not. You could make this, I mean, presumably it's going to want to sit in the refrigerator for a while before you eat it, but you could mix this up.
No, not long. It's really quick. And it lasts for a super long time, by the way. And also you can freeze it, so it's pretty cool, right?
You could make this in the afternoon and you could have it for dinner, so.
But the goal about this, people, my point about this is really to share with friends. This is important, okay? This is time to, it's cheap, it's super good, you can share. There's lots of people that like pate, they just buy the crappy stuff. There's a lot of stuff that are not really well done. It's not great. You make your own pate, my God, man, this thing is insane. This is really good. Okay? Right.
And this is a great way to, in the evening, you open a bottle of wine, you slice the pate, you get some nice little Cornichon pickles, or pickles that you make yourself. You could do other pickles too. You could have a whole variety of pickled vegetables,
Yeah, exactly.
pickled carrots, pickled cucumbers, pickled onions. That would be a really nice accompaniment to this.
Okay, you guys, Lucy is telling me that actually the recipe, we're going to post it on our Instagram and Facebook on a post. Okay, so it's going to be there. If you are on our Instagram, you're going to find the post at least for tomorrow. Okay, maybe not today. Okay, let's blend that thing. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, people. And the recipe is going to say with crostinis, you guys can figure out how to do your crostinis, right? You don't need me.
Oh, they're super easy.
Just plug that machine. Put the thing on. Put my lid. Now there's another way fancy, but I'm not doing fancy. But my mom, when she does pate, she removes the skin. Too much time.
Oh, from the liver. Yeah. I've done that before, and it is very time consuming. You need a very sharp paring knife, and you just peel it off. It's not hard, but it takes a long time. And I don't know that it makes such a big difference.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, you're going to blend it so smooth, and you've got liquid in there. It's
so, but it's done. So you see, it's still, I can go in there, blend it more. The trick is this. If you don't like any of those little pieces of the collagen, that's what it is, you put it into a strainer and you go with a spatula.
Yeah.
So it's a mousse. I don't care. I think I would literally eat all those things because I think the collagen is important. I think all is important. But in French cuisine, you have to remove all the skin. If not, you get bit up. Like that will kill you. So you have to remove all the skin. It's.
And in a French kitchen, you'd have a tool called a tamis, and it's a ring with a mesh.
No, you have to do it before. The tamis is.
No. I mean, if you wanted to strain out the bits, the skin has to be done before. But
so you see, the pate is not looking bad at all already. Okay, it's really nice.
And would you say straining it, pushing it through a strainer like that would be the difference between a pate and a mousse?
Right. So the mousse is a little bit different, but this is what you do. For the mousse, you're gonna have to remove all the little bits.
Yeah.
So it's creamy. I don't care. It's so much work. Also, we talked about eating the whole animal.
Right.
Keep that in mind. A lot of things in French food, they remove too many things in my opinion. But the thing is really good. I think it is a little acid. So I can put, I think it is a little booze.
Can always use a little booze.
Not too much on this booze when it's cold, people. The alcohol, when things are cold, very little. I put probably a teaspoon because cold booze does not taste good in food. It needs to be a hint, really important.
Right.
Alcohol really doesn't taste good in food. I put a teaspoon, and maybe I put a lemon, and maybe I put some tomato paste because I love tomato paste. Gives me more acidity, right? Look at this. What? So you work it out the way what you want. This is the time before you put it into ramekin. Make sure it's awesome and really good, and then you're all done. Ready to go. Good. What else? That's it.
Now, are you going to put that in a terrine, or are you going to put that in individual?
Ramekin. So ramekin is like this. ramekins like this, right?
Right.
Stuff like this. Yes. All right, pate done.
And by the way, you could eat some of this right away, couldn't you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I would
It's
slice
raw.
up
It's warm.
slice up some baguette, put a little olive oil on it, put it under the broiler for a minute, just get it nice and toasty brown, and spread some of this on there.
Really pretty. Okay. It's strong flavor. Remember, it has to be strong flavor. If you are not sure how to handle the flavoring, keep that just like that. Put that into the fridge. Wait until it's cold. Try it. Keep working that thing. Then put them in the ramekins. This is very strong flavor, beautiful, lots of salt, lot of everything. When it goes cold, it's going to taste really good. If it's not enough flavor when it's warm, it will taste like nothing at all. Best example, hummus.
Mm-hmm.
When you make a hummus at home, it tastes really good, and then you put it in the fridge, and then you try it later, and it's like has no flavor. Why?
Right.
Because it was great when you just made it.
Right.
No, it needs to be more. Cool.
Well, cold food in general doesn't have as much flavor as warm food. I mean, that's why you take cheese out of the fridge an hour before you're going to eat it.
Or
That's
charcuterie.
why, huh?
Or charcuterie or anything.
Or charcuterie, anything like that. It's always better at room temperature. I get frustrated because we'll have cold chicken in the fridge and I want to eat it right now, and I take a bite, but it just has no flavor, so I have to force myself to let it sit out on the counter for a while. I know your mother doesn't put it in the fridge at all.
My parents, they don't put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Chicken is outside, and then they come by and they pick up his. I mean, in 2 days the chicken is gone, and it's just dry. That's all it does.
Yeah, yeah. My wife's a little scared to do that, so I can't convince her to leave it out. I leave it out, and she ends up putting it away. But then I have to. But then you have to let it sit there for an hour anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Put it under your bed. Put it under your bed.
I put it under my pillow. I have really good dreams that way.
Oh, good. All right, I'm happy for my pate. That's going to be a really awesome food. Pate is really what you need right now, and there's a lot of nutrients in pate, but one of the nutrients I'm very interested in right now with COVID-19 is the vitamin A preform. Preform vitamin A means the vitamin A in that pate is already done, is you grab entirely, and this is your biggest protection for any super immune. Also, it's particularly good for smokers. I'm not saying you should smoke in that, but this is what happens. It's the lungs. It's vitamin A is a very, very crazy vitamin. It's the vitamin A preform in meat is different than the vitamin A in vegetable. They're both good.
So you mean if I eat that pate on a regular basis, I can take up smoking again?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I want to.
Now, they did some experiment with smokers. That's why we're talking about vitamin A, because they realized that vitamin A in synthetic form or in pill form could be dangerous for smokers, but the real vitamin A for food is actually very beneficial. It was an interesting found, and that's why I was talking about this. Smoker, not.
Now let me ask you: is this pate? Is it really more of a spread, or if you put it in a terrine, would it be sliceable?
Not sliceable. This is
no,
spread.
it's really a spread.
This is like a mousse with that stuff.
Yeah, so that's why you'd want to put it in the individual ramekins, and if you had people over, you could give everyone a ramekin.
Yeah.
On a little plate with some pickles, maybe a little salad.
You make a big one. You leave it with little knives, and people.
Yeah.
It's spreadable, but it's pretty thick, right?
Yeah. But I mean, if you wanted to have a socially distanced gathering, you could do individual ramekins and give each person one, and their own little portion of pickles and some bread. And
my solution for those, how do you call that? Social
distancing.
Yeah. So my solution would be the. How do you call this tool where you go like this? The slingshot.
Yeah.
Man, those are fun. You just,
The host sits there and just everybody opens their mouth and he just
Close your eyes, though. You have to close your eyes. So don't forget that.
You have to wear goggles.
Yeah.
Wear safety goggles.
Good job, people. Well, that's almost. Oh, we have 5 minutes. Okay, so.
So let's talk about next week, the next 2 weeks. We got 2 shows before Thanksgiving, and we're going to talk about some Thanksgiving foods. We're going to talk about sugar and honey.
Different sugar options, yes.
Um,
for baking. So maybe we'll do a little dessert. But we are going to teach you how to make a brine for turkey breast, which is very important. Because turkey breasts are really good, but they dry instantly. So we're going to show you how to brine the turkey to gain about 20% liquid moisture. So it's going to be much easier. It's going to be much more easier to cook, more forgiving, right?
Yeah, some people actually buy a whole turkey, but they cut it all up and they cook it separately because you can cook it. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Right, it's super easy. It's like an hour of cooking altogether done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
Maybe we could show how to cut up a turkey sometime.
Sure, it's very easy. I mean, you know, we're not going to do the butcher cut. We're going to do the Rambo cut, right? Like easy.
So you do it with an AK-47. You just shoot it on the table, and so it.
No, you cut the middle. You know, that's the hard part. You have to take a big scissors and cut the top, put it, and then kind of portion it like 8 pieces, 10 pieces.
But I think Thanksgiving is going to be difficult for a lot of people this year. It's the first big holiday we've had since the pandemic began.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it's such a family-oriented holiday where people come home for the holiday, and it's going to be very difficult. And I think people are going to, scale back and just do smaller dinners. And
well, let's show them how to make a couple of things for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A couple of sides. I want to show the turkey breast because it's really, it's very cool. The turkey thighs I've never done, but I looked at the recipe to be able to do it, but it's too long. Too long. It's 2.5 hours or 3 hours, something like this, unless someone knows a better recipe. I like the thighs better for sure, but I'm going to show you how to make the breast really good and very tender. There's a way to do that. Just like the pork tenderloin, okay?
Yep.
All right, people.
Well, that's pretty much how much time we have for today. Thank you very much. We're gonna line up a bunch of guests in December after Thanksgiving.
We're trying to get what's his name, Paul Bertoli from
Paul Bertoli. I've sent out a call to him.
Yeah.
I'd like to get Carol on the show, and I'd love to do an episode where we talk a little bit about herbs and nutrition and all that stuff. I mean, you always mention that. You always talk about nutrition when you're doing the food, but I think it'd be fun to have her on the show, and we're going to have others.
Someone who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Somebody who's actually read the books.
All right, guys.
I have two different colleagues at Cesar. Well, one's a former colleague, one's a current colleague, who are both the former one studied nutrition, and now she's a nutritionist. And then Christy, who I work with now, she's currently studying nutrition, and that's her goal, is to be a nutritionist in a clinic or something. It's a lot of people are interested in that now.
Yeah,
because
I think with nutrition and something you need experience.
Yep.
You need to understand how it works, and then you need the feedback from your clients, because
that's why they sort of do an internship.
So I love to work with someone like Carol, for example, because before I met her, she had 15 years of practice already.
Right.
So when you practice that, you have feedback from your client. Very important, the feedback, because that's how you navigate. So
right.
If you have, for example, if you have MDs that do alternative medicine, those people are fantastic because they know how to do the feedback. They're already doctors, which they learn the wrong thing and then they learn the right thing. They become the best people because they have the medical behind them and they know how to get the feedback and to kind of navigate those nutrients. I mean, everybody respond to different nutrients on different level. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm always worried about hiring a young person And this is something that I'm not. I see a lot of websites where this young people. It's your health, guys. Be careful.
Yeah.
You need strong experience, 10, 15 years, 20 years of experience. You need chemistry. You need science. You need a strong background. You have to be careful with that. Okay. This is anyway.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about this. That's it for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Good luck.